Never know what
That's soccer.
I never know with you like half, but I've been talking to people from the Netherlands and like Indonesia and India. Like, who's from the Netherlands? Who?
No, make him mad. Call it soccer.
Oh, okay. Fuck it, soccer.
I've been indoctrinated by you lot. Now I'm calling it soccer as well.
Oh, there it is. Oh, you've been poisoned.
Yeah, I've been poisoned. American colonialism is that.
It's what we do. You guys were the best, but we've taken over.
Yeah. Canada and Greenland soon to be yours.
Fuck. I'm talking to Canadians about that. They're like, this is getting weird. I'm like, yeah, you guys are already a little America, so like.
We'll leave that there. So, speaking of international relations, Russian spies in the lead up to this fight. I mean, I know we took it back, but talk to me about the saga of Kopylov and his Russian spies that we eventually had to maybe retract.
Yeah, so I thought he was in fact evil giant Russian Chase Hooper, but he's just giant Russian Chase Hooper. He's not actually evil. Actually seems to be pretty nice. But yeah, unfortunately, I always say coincidences are bullshit, but yeah, man, like 3 random things happened to be happening simultaneously that made this really awkward. So very rarely am I wrong, but I will admit that I'm wrong when I am, and like I was wrong. I apologize. Like my bad, Russian Chase Hooper. But yeah, like so who's Johnny Walker fighting?
Bogdan Gustav.
Yeah, so he's usually at our gym, but I guess Johnny Walker got here first, so he's like, okay, I'll train at Syndicate. Fine, he's Russian, whatever. I guess his corners came out before him, and he was like, no, go to Extreme. That's where he usually trains. There's 85ers there for you. So they came in. Those were the 2 Russians. I'm like, okay, cool, whatever, no problem. So I guess when he got into town, Kopylov came in roughly the same time. So when he got in, his teammates left to go train with him at Syndicate. And I didn't know that. I didn't know where his corners. So I'm just like, okay, Russians are gone, cool. And then like a day later, like, oh, Kopylov's in town. I'm like, oh, also cool, whatever. Like no issue. I got no beef with him. And then over the holidays, I see people like, oh shit, you see this? It's them at the PI with Kopylov. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? What is this about? Like, that's pretty weird. That's pretty scummy. And come to turn out, so you have him being at a Syndicate, him flying into town, and then over the holidays, everywhere was closed, right? So Syndicate was closed too, and they're at Syndicate, so they went to the PI, both at the same gym but training separately. But they're like, there's nowhere to train, so with the PI, so. It's awkward. My bad. Like I was like it's like fucking conspiracy theories over here. I'm like, well, who does this? I was shocked. Like who does? I didn't know we still did this. I thought this died years ago. So I was like, what is happening right now? It's very strange. So my bad. I was wrong. It happens.
When because you saw him, right, and got to say to him,
yeah.
Was he kind of like, what?
He speaks no English. So that went well. Like so. I'm talking to the guy Johnny's fighting. He explains it to me. I'm like, oh shit, that makes more sense. We kind of hashed out like what happened. So as we're doing that in the PI locker room, Kopylov happens to walk in, and I'm like, oh shit, Roman Kopylov. And I'm like, do you speak English? And he's like, no. So I'm like, okay, hold on. So I was trying to figure out what to say. I think it was one of the Nurmagomedovs was there. I think who's this really small one?
Umar?
I think it was Umar, actually. He was like, I'll translate. I was like trying to talk to Kopylov. We're doing hand signals. Umar, it's like, I'll translate for you. It's fine. So, like, thanks. I believe it was Umar. Thanks to Umar, we figured out what happened. And I apologize. I'm like, my bad, man. Like, I'll clear it up. Like, I really am sorry. I just thought it was super fucking weird. He's like, no, everyone mad at me, brother. I'm not a bad guy. I was like, no, you're not evil Russian Chase Hooper. You're just Russian Chase Hooper. I'm sorry. I felt bad. I was like, fuck, my bad.
In your career, have you ever, because we do hear those stories, right, of people sending guys, especially in boxing, you hear about spies and camps. Have you ever seen anything like that? Like at Extreme, it's a big gym, guys come through. Have you ever seen someone who've been like,
oh, yes. Yeah. Extreme's had a problem with this before to where, like, we've had to crack down on who the fuck's allowed in the gym when people, like really big fights in camp because some weird shit has gone down and, like, we're just like, okay, like, it's one of those things to where Extreme is one of the most awesome gyms. We've open door policy. Like, like we want to train, come train. But we've had to kind of cut back on, like, who we allow in at what times because that shit does happen. So, like, you've seen it. But I was like, okay, whatever. But it's just shocking that it would happen to me. I guess I felt special. I thought it wouldn't happen to me. I'm like, who does that? Like, yeah, so that's what caught me off guard.
Is it good to be kickstarting a year off with a fight on the first event, or does it suck not to be able to celebrate Christmas and New Year's properly?
Man, I have such a weird childhood that I don't really celebrate Christmas and New Year's anymore. Like, I learned a long time ago, like, nah, you don't do holidays. So I'm not a holiday person. So, like, the food aspect of it's been fine. Like, been dialed in. So after I hurt my hamstring, I really just started like honing in on my diet because I'm 37. I turned 37 after that fight. I still feel great, but like, man, your body kind of starts to change in weird ways. I still do great in the practice room, but I feel like shit when I go home. So I've really had to change my diet and be more aware of like, my recovery. And my girlfriend, the PI staff, the SNC staff, all the other PTs, they've all really got me honing in on my recovery a lot more. So my diet's been clean for like 8 months. Like I've been like a clean diet for like 8 months now. It's been pretty crazy. I feel great. So the Christmas festivities and food and shit, I don't care about. Like New Year's, I don't really care about. I don't do anything. I don't like celebrating. I don't even celebrate my own birthday. So that's fine. I'm just glad I get to fight. Like 8 months off is one of those nightmare scenarios for me, especially 8 months off because you keep getting hurt. So I'm just happy to be able to fight. Like I didn't want to wait until like March or April to fight. I do hate fighting in the cold, but I was like, screw it. I'll be a big boy. I'll take care of it. Like I just wanted to fight.
Yeah. And I know that you and Sean Strickland had a bit of a friendship divorce there, but it seems like you guys are back on the same page. Is that just down to brothers arguing and you guys kind of fall out and then make friends again over and over?
Understand that I've known Sean Strickland longer than most people. I've known Sean, guys, going on like 10 years now. So it's always funny when like people are like, oh, forget, like, get over it. I'm like, you guys know the caricature of Sean. Like, all right, like I've been in this for like 10 years now. And there are times to where I've debated hitting him with a brick. Like not even, I don't even say this. I'm like, bro, I'm going to hit you with a fucking brick. Like I don't care like where it goes. And like this time led to a fist fight as well. And we were like really about to throw down. And the entire gym is like, are you guys really doing this? And we're about to like actually throw down. And I'm like threatening to cripple him before he fights Streakus. Like I will fucking cripple you. And like, so we get out of hand. But like, I've known Sean for a long time. So we do have our own issues. And like, there's shit we will still need to discuss and talk about and like, you kind of put everything up front. But right now, like this fight's important to me. Like, I can't lose 2 in a row. Like I can't. Like I really can't. Especially after the last fights where I thought I had it. Like for my own mental well-being, like it's really hard to lose 2 in a row. So I need to focus on this. And he's going out there to fight for a UFC title and get his belt back. Like we don't have time to focus on like shit that's not conducive to the goal. One of my favorite sayings ever is singularity of purpose. Everything we have to do right now has to be with the sole purpose of achieving this next goal. So we'll get along fine. We'll be fine for now. Like we figured it out. We're kind of like just moving past it. We'll address it in the future. At the end of the day, I'm always gonna be pulling for him. Like I want him to fucking succeed. I want him to succeed in the cage. I want him to succeed in life. Even when the times I'm just like, bro, like I can't fucking stand you. But like that's how it is. Like my actual biological brother, I can't stand most of the time. So I'm like, no real difference. Like it's whatever. We'll be fine. We'll figure it out later. But we've got jobs to do right now, so we're trying to focus on doing the job.
If you're shouting, "I'm going to cripple you" at him, what is he shouting back?
Oh, he's fucking terrible. He's like, oh, God, what did he say? He said something that pissed me off. What did he say? Like, I'm not going to go into it, but, like, it came down to I'm going to cripple. I'm going to cripple you. And then he's just like, we were like, oh, fuck, let's go fight right now. We're, like, getting ready to go fight. And people were like, are we doing this right now? Like, it's, like, regular business hours, and you guys are out here being crazy. Like, yeah. So we
kids jiu-jitsu class just walking past.
Not far off. Like, it's just, they're just like, just going on. Like, yeah, so we have our own issues to deal with, but like I said, we've got even more important than that. We've got futures to think about, and right now, both of our futures depend on our being able to do our job. So let's focus on doing our job. We'll fucking sing Kumbaya later and figure it out.
Chris, with Roman fighting 2 of your teammates, like have you had him on your radar? Like I'm gonna fight this dude at some point.
No, I haven't cared. Like it's like I just didn't care. I was like, all right. Like it's weird, man. I very rarely get that invested in like people who like, how do you like beat a teammate and done something like fucking assholery? I'd be like, okay, like deal. Now you're a target. But nah, man. He fought Puna. He fought Caesar. Like Caesar fight was really close. The Puna fight is what it was. But like he's never been a problem. So it's like cool. Like dude can fight. He won. Like good job. I very rarely will be mad at somebody for beating someone in a fair fight. I'm like, it's fine, man. Like, I get it. Like, it's cool. Like, you went out there, he fought a good fight. It was cool. It wasn't like there was no what I consider like bitch activity. Like, no, you want to fight, bro. Like, it's fine. Like, I'm not mad about it. It's not like, oh, I'm not going to seek vengeance. Like, no, you didn't do anything worthy of vengeance. Like, you just want to fight. Like, good for you. I'm not fucking mad.
With that being said, do you foresee him shooting on you and kind of taking his route that he was fighting Caesar?
I mean, cool. I don't know. I think he may, but I think I'm a better wrestler. And, like, here's the thing, guys. Like, if you're not actively a wrestler, if you didn't grow up wrestling is exceedingly tiring. Like, to wrestle somebody. And to offensively wrestle somebody, it's very tiring. Like, I am very good at wrestling. I pride myself on it. I've been in one of the best wrestling gyms in the U.S. for 5 years now. I've been wrestling for the last, I don't know how many years. I'm really good at wrestling. I don't know why I don't wrestle in fights. I think I just enjoy punching people. Like, I really have this weird pride thing to where, like, my pride is like a boxer overrides my common sense sometimes. But I'm very good at wrestling. Like, I'm not afraid to wrestle. I don't think you can take me down. If you can't take me down, it's fine. I don't care. I can get up. Like, you're not going to submit me. You're not going to hold me down. Like, if you take me down, like, it happens. Like, I think one of the early things in my career, I really was afraid of getting taken down. I could defend pretty decently. But when I got taken down, I was like, damn, I got taken down. Now what? If you take me down now, I'm like, okay, cool. But, like, you can't hold me here, and I'm going to get up. You can take me down again. I'm still going to keep getting up. And I've trained this for years. So every time I do it, it doesn't cost me anything. But it's going to cost you a lot to hold me down and keep shooting and shooting and shooting. So if he tries to wrestle, I am unprofessional as hell. I apologize. Like, my non-great ringtone there. But, yeah, man, I just don't think it's going to be the effective game as well as Caesar. Caesar's a kickboxer. Like, obviously, he's been training MMA for a bit, but I've got a very different set of skills than Caesar. So if he wants to try, it's fine. But, I mean, I think it's a horrible idea.
Obviously, you were asked a million times about Sean and DDP's first fight. Now that fight's over and now that they're fighting again, obviously you're going to be picking Sean. But how do you see that fight kind of playing out?
Two coked out chimpanzees in a phone booth, man. Like, that's the Dricus fight. Like, I think honestly, that's just how Dricus fights. It's like what do you do? Like, God, it's so funny because, like, everyone I know has always clowned on Dricus the way he fights. She's like, it's fucking wild. But you know what? God damn, it's effective. People always ask, like, how is he doing this? And I tell people, like, it's like trying to learn to tango, but your partner doesn't know the moves. So you're like, what's happening? You're like, he's just doing shit that's not on beat. He doesn't know the moves. He didn't read the manual. And that's how it's hard to fight Dricus. You don't really know what he's doing. So, I just want to see this. Like, as a fan of the sport, I am kind of like burnt out on the sport a lot. Like, as a fighter, I love it. You know, I love fighting. I don't really watch fights as much as I used to. But as a fan of the sport, even without my personal investment in it, I really just want to see this play out because it's such an awkward clash of two really awkward, probably the two most awkward people in the division fighting each other. So, like, there's a lot to take away from that. It's like the short bus special. Like, I'm very excited. Am I wrong though? Like, Sean is awkward as fuck. Like, Sean is awkward as fuck to fight. That's why people struggle to fight him when you like run into each other for the first time. You're like, what is this? Like, I don't know what this is. And for as awkward as Sean is, Dricus is like 4 times worse, and it's but in a different way. So, like, the two most awkward dudes in the division happen to be really good at fighting. So I just want to see it.
How was Thailand?
Oh, I fucking loved it, man. I fucking love Thailand. I'm actually planning on moving in March. So we're gonna make the move to Thailand. So I'll live out there for a year or two. I'll still come back to Extreme to finish do my camps and finish my camps and split them there. But I fell in love with them, and I actually fucking love Thailand. So thinking about March, we get everything settled. Apparently, getting a visa and a passport for a 1-year-old is it is work. Like, oh man. Good job, Vegas. I guess, like, kids get stolen here a decent amount. So, like, you got to jump through hoops to get a kid in Vegas a passport and a visa. But hopefully we get everything knocked out. We got a tentative date for March to make the move, but I'm excited for it.
And finally, did you fight on top of a strip club?
I have fought on top of strip clubs. Like, if you look at the fuck was the name of that show? It used to be called Ice. In Ohio. It was on top of a strip club. Like, yeah, it's crazy. It's like a mall parking lot on top of a strip club. It's crazy. Was that Ice? I don't know. There was somewhere. Ice was on top of something too, but I don't know what. But I fought in those random places. I fought in bars. I remember when I was young, I fought in bars. And the cage was an actual chain link fence. like the gray metal chain link with like PVC on the bottom and like foam pad. I'm like, oh shit, okay. I have fought the most random places, like Sinaloa, Mexico. I was in like a silo. It was like a refurbished grain silo. I was like, what is this? But like, okay, cool, whatever. I have fought everywhere under the sun, like some places to where I was like, I don't know how we're here. I don't know how you all have electricity here. I have fought in like barns in the middle of nowhere. Like I am a road warrior through and through, man. I'm just clumsy as shit today. It's fine. I don't even care. I've been doing a lot of interviews today. I'm tired. I'm sorry, but yeah, I've been everywhere, man. It's just what I do. But it's fun. I got some weird scars and stories to tell, so it's fun.
Over here, Chris.
Where am I looking at?
Sorry.
Oh, there you are.
I know you just said you're kind of burnt out on fighting. You don't really watch it anymore. It's been a little over 5 years, I think, since you left the PFL to come to the UFC. They've been in the news recently. They had some success on their last card, but it seems like after their acquisition of Bellator, there may be some drama over there. Are you paying attention to what's happening over there and other organizations like the GFL is supposedly going to be starting, and just your thoughts on what's going on with the PFL and other organizations trying to compete with the UFC, and if that's a good thing for the sport or a bad thing for the sport?
That's a lot. All right, we'll break that down piece by piece. Stay with me here. See, right? It's something. It's not just fucking me. Like, yeah, all right. Fucking ghosts and spiders and shit. But, all right, so PFL. I have not really paid that much attention, but I kind of like dipped in and out because I have a lot of friends who fight for PFL and Bellator. You know, like Johnny Eblin's like, I don't know what's happening right now. Fabian Edwards, Jason Jackson, whatnot. So I've got friends and stuff who are like in these organizations. So I've never run a business, all right? Like contrary to what my like tax statements say. I would never like actively like it's incrimination. No, I'm joking. But I've never like run a business on that caliber, right? Like I've never, like there's something for being a business for yourself and then running a company that big. So I have ideas about what they could be hoping to do, but I don't know what their ultimate game plan is with the Bellator merger and acquisition with the way it's been done now. I have to assume a company with that much money involved that there's a plan in mind. I just don't know what it is. I'm like, you know what? Smarter people than me have this job. Figure it out. I mean, I would have done it differently. Do you remember Strikeforce Challenger series? Dude, I'm going to go into this. I think about this in the shower a lot. I'm going to stay with me here. If I had PFL and I bought Bellator, I would not have melted Bellator. They're like silly melting Bellator. Like, no. What you do is you run PFL as your Super Bowl. There's no need to operate both shows simultaneously. So I turned them into 3 segments. We have PFL Challengers, which name was my idea. Like Ask Ray Cepho, that was my name idea. Thank you. I stole it from Strikeforce Challengers, but whatever. So you run PFL Challengers. The winner in each weight class gets the champion of that gets entered into a tournament. Cool, done. You have a reason to have fights throughout the year. They're smaller cards. You don't have to pay as much, whatever. But keeps people saying, "Oh shit, PFL." Bellator is where everyone fights. Everyone fights in Bellator. There's no PFL fighters besides the PFL challenger fighters. Those are the only true PFL fighters. Bellator, everyone fights in Bellator. And the top guys in those brackets, at the end of the year, the top ranked guys go into the PFL tournament. The PFL tournament is just the Super Bowl of the year. It comes around once a year. At that thing, you have the top guys in those divisions fight. There's no playoff season. There's no earning points. You did that during the year. Because I think PFL, in my eyes, PFL's biggest strength and its weakness is this like tournament structure and like the point system. People are like, I don't care. I just want to see people fight. So you have Bellator for that. Have everybody fight in Bellator. Boom. Winners go to PFL, the tournament at the end of the year. Problem solved. That's what I would have done. What they're doing, I have no idea. Who knows? GFL, I just heard about GFL last week. I'm like, what is this? I don't follow fighting at all, mind you, except for like random things that pop up. So I have no idea what's happening. I saw what's her name? A few people I know got signed. I'm like, okay, cool. I am a believer in that there should be other organizations, big organizations. I don't really see anybody at this point as direct competition to the UFC. Like, you've become a juggernaut at this time, so I don't really see them as direct competition. But that's fine. You don't have direct competition to the NFL. Like, it's just not how it works. At the same time, there are leagues that you can build like bigger not so much feeder leagues. You got like LFA and stuff like that, like Fury that are feeder leagues. But you need big organizations. But feeder leagues to UFC is a very big jump. For 90% of the roster, that's a massive fucking jump. People are like, oh, you were LFA, you're a Fury champion, blah, blah, blah. You go to UFC and get smashed. It's a very big talent jump. So you need that next step between there. And I think that's what these other leagues should be. Like, don't try to replace the UFC. You're trying to beat a business model that cost a lot of lost money to figure out. So unless you're willing to go into the hole really, really, really hard, because UFC was in a hole for a long time, you guys know. So, but they spent the time and the effort and the sacrifice to figure that out. So, like, don't try to jump to that. It doesn't work. That's never worked anywhere. Like, it's just in any field, you can't just jump in that position, throw money at it. Like, we remember Elite XC and all the boom back in the day. People threw money at it. Like, yeah, we just copy the model, put money into it. Doesn't work that way. So, I think those leagues will be great. They should serve a purpose. Just stop trying to be number one. Because that's a losing venture at this point. Like, find a niche and make your money there, make your market there. And I think that's where it could be, that step between LFA and Fury and CS and UFC. Like, no, you need that level there.
I think you undersold yourself as a businessman based on that response. I think you should maybe give Don Davis a call.
I would spend everything on cocaine and strippers. Like, know thyself. Like, there's a reason why I don't have power. Like, I tell people, like, the universe knows me better than me. There's a reason why. If I was 6'1", like, people would be fucking miserable. I'd be a tyrant. But so I was made 5'10". Like, the universe knows me, and it keeps me in check.
When you talk about the GFL, this one of the ideas that they're also trying, and I don't know the full details, but they're trying to do this 50-50 rev share. So you as a fighter, one, you want to have these other organizations, but you kind of probably want that organization to work, to maybe change the overall, I guess, sport.
So here's the thing: like, fighters advocating for getting paid less is ridiculous. I always want to be paid more, but at the same time, like 50-50 rev share for like. That's going to be interesting to do. Well, I know other, what's the NFL make? Like, what is their thing?
There's like 51%, I think.
Yeah, so that's when you have the issue becomes a 50-50 rep share means nothing when you make no money. And that's like, so 50% of nothing is still like
Zero.
Nothing. Like, yeah, it's still nothing. So I understand and I support like that mentality, but you can't. A startup is not going to do that. What numbers is, like, realistically, I want GFL to succeed. I always think there should be more shows. I think it's better for everybody. But realistically, what numbers are they going to pull?
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be starting out. There's going to be, let's say they said they're around for 10 years. Those first 5 years, what are they going to make? Like, what are you giving 50% of? How much does PFL make, honestly? Like, they've got great backers, so like that's fine. But like, it's hard starting out, man. PFL is like having to grind through the hardships to get there, and they're starting to make headway. Finally, I think they said their last fight they made like a decent profit. They're turning headway. It took them a lot of time, a lot of effort. So you're gonna start out with fight one with 50% rep. It's just not realistic. Like, I fucking love the idea of it, like in theory, but in practice, I just don't see how that works until you're established. Unfortunately, in order to be established, what happens? You got to step on people. So it's like fighting's. I don't know the ins and outs of it, but I understand that it's got to be a cutthroat business, because until the profit margins are big, and until they're like UFC profit margins, they're very fucking thin profit margins.
Yeah. And I think we already hear like the PFL. I think next year their tournament is going to be $500,000 as opposed to $1 million. I could be quoting the wrong number. There's smarter reporters.
Oh, is it?
So that's even changing as well.
Oh, inflation. Yeah, you guys wanted tariffs. Yeah. Look at that now. Like, yeah, fucking half.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, right. That's right. I went there.
All right. Well, speaking of funner things, when you watch film on this, did you besides studying Kopylov, did you also watch footage on Hooper for this one?
Oh God, just giant chase. It's so funny because like I look at Kopylov and I'm like, okay, be mad at him. I'm like, man, Chase Hooper got big. And it's just weird. But it's funny, man. It's like he's like Chase Hooper's final form, and it's terrifying. Like, yeah, like, all right. So honestly, like, we should. I want Chase Cooper monitored, because I've never seen him and Kopylov in the same place at the same time. So how do I know that Chase Hooper's real? How do I know that Roman Kopylov? Like, which one is like Batman? Which one is the real person? And which one is the mask? Yeah, oh God, no, he's man. You know what? Roman is actually the final form because like there is Ben Askren in there, or maybe Ben. I don't know, man. It's fucking weird. Like I've never seen them all together, so I've got questions.
You mentioned a little bit about the health and how you're recovering. You know, you had the hamstring after the fight, and then you broke the foot, I believe. How has the process been healing and waiting to try to really get back in there? And are you feeling 100% going into this?
Yeah, man, it's been nice. Big part of the process, apparently. I tore my hamstring. I started eating a shit ton of red meat. Like I was eating like 2 pounds of red meat a day, and apparently that does wonders for your recovery. Like I was supposed to, they said probably 6 months, 6 to 8 months of like recovery for the hamstring. I was cleared to fight in 4. So one of my greatest things in life about me is that I heal really fast. Like I should have been killed a few times in my life to kind of pull through. I'm very lucky, and I heal from injury really fast. The PI thinks it's hilarious. They're just like, I told them I heal fast. And over the years, they're like, yeah, you really do heal faster than normal. So I feel good going into it, especially now that I've had to spend a lot more time focused on like the way I recover. I skipped recovery my entire career. I just didn't believe in it. I was like, no, be a man. I'm a strong, tough man. I don't need to recover. I recover by sleeping. And that's great in your 20s. Even in your early 30s, that's great. But, like, once you hit 35, shit starts getting weird to where you're like, all right, like, you know. And now I feel – it's weird. I feel great in training. I can fight people. I can beat up people in their 20s. You know, you got guys, you know, top 15 fighters I can fucking go toe-to-toe with and feel great. But I sleep – if I go to bed and I sleep wrong in a weird position, I wake up crippled for a day. Yeah. So, like, it's very strange. So, like, luckily as a fighter, my body's held up really well. And I'm grateful for that. But, like, my quality of life has gone up since I started, taking better care of myself. My diet's been perfect. I've gotten on my supplementation. My nutrition's been great. I ice bath now, which I fucking hate. I do saunas, which I hate. You know, I do hot tubs, which I hate slightly less, but still hate. I do their cryotherapy. I do red light. I do stretching and yoga and all this stuff. So I've had to definitely reinvest time into my body, but this is probably the first time in 2 years to where I walk around without – everybody says before I walked like petrified wood. And it was a running joke in the gym. They're like, you walk in, you move like you're 70. I get on the mat and I'm fine. But like outside of those moments of training, I move like I'm 70. This is the first time in probably like the last 2 or 3 years to where I walk around on and off the mat feeling good. And I think that translates to better performance, honestly, to where, like my shoulders are looser. I got back to punching easier. Like for a long time, my shoulders were really tight. I had like a weird impingement in my one of my shoulders that made it hard to throw punches and throw certain punches. Like I couldn't really right hook that well because it hurt me. It hurt me a lot actually to throw a right hook. It hurt really bad, and like that's gone now. I had like weird pinch in my left shoulder to where I couldn't throw overhands for a long time, and like now we've gotten rid of that through the stretching and the PT and everything else to where I've got all my punches back, which is really nice. So learning to take care of myself in my 30s has been an interesting process, but I definitely feel better for it.
And I know I was doing some filming at Extreme when you were in your healing process, and I saw you taking part of the training of the other fighters. Was that something that was beneficial for you as well, or is it just a matter of Extreme and fighting so much in your life that even when you're injured, you could stay at home, but you instead wanted to give back and train? And did that help you to keep your mind right, and did it help you as a fighter to be there helping to coach?
Most definitely, man. Like I am a fighter who enjoys fighting. I always say most fighters don't enjoy fighting at all. Like people enjoy competing, people enjoy winning, but I enjoy fighting. I enjoy the fight. I enjoy the training. Like I like the act of like just fighting. So for me, not being able to do that's really hard, especially like, it's really easy to fall into that despair to where you're sitting at home on the couch with a fucking box of cookies. You start ordering Uber Eats, which is like the freaking worst thing we've invented as a civilization. One of our biggest like markers for our downfall will be the invention of Uber Eats. Like we should never have done this. We've given too much power to like the worst things. Like, Uber Eats is bad. So it's too easy to fall into that habit of like, I'm just going to sit here in my darkness and wallow. And I'm somebody who had a history of like, I wallowed, I dwelled on things. But being hurt, we're like, hey, we can't do the things we want. Get in the gym, move around, do what you can. And then even when I can't train, like, there are other people fighting. You have teammates. Like fighting is not a singular sport. Like you have teammates. There are people who've helped you who are fighting. There are people who are coming up who can't do shit for you, but they're still trying to learn. Like, if you can do something, do something. You're better off being – it's funny. Like, you see so many people at Extreme who are just there, not doing anything, or like just talking, helping. You're like, why? Because I can be at home doing nothing, or like, you know, being in my head, or I can just be here at least around you guys where I'm not – if we're in a room full of crazy people, I'm a little bit less crazy. Like, if I'm at home by myself, I'm a psychopath. If I'm in a room full of crazy people, you're just in the group. So it's definitely good for you to be out of the house, in the gym, in those situations. So you don't, you know, start ordering in. You don't start picking up alcohol. You don't start, you know, falling into bad vices.
Last question. How do you get your arm raised on Saturday against giant Russian Chase Hooper?
Yeah, not giant evil Russian Chase Hooper, just giant Russian. Good job. Saturday, I get my hand raised by going out there. Like I've got. This is what, my 10th UFC fight, my 43rd pro fight, I think, pro MMA fight. I've got more experience than most people in this company as a fighter. I have fought really good kickboxers. I fought really good boxers. I fought really good wrestlers. I fought really good MMA guys. I fought capoeira guys, which is terrifying. I fought kung fu guys. I have fought everyone under the sun. It's very hard to surprise me. I have answers. So I get my hand raised by going out there and just fucking fighting. Like, take the fight to him, make him fight a fight, and see where it goes. Like, I got to stop worrying about being perfect. I got to stop trying to have everything be textbook. Honestly, Dricus has kind of opened my eyes a little bit to where I do give Dricus credit. The dude doesn't care how it looks so long as it wins. I've had an issue in the past of trying to be too perfect, and in that time when you're trying to be too perfect, you tend to overthink and you freeze. I always tell people who are coming up, like, oh, why can't I do this? I can hear you think. Like, if I can hear you thinking when we're in the round, that you're fucking up. And I think there's been a little bit just the pressure of being in the UFC, as being a ranked guy, fighting these people. I wanted everything to be perfect because I didn't want to fucking see some fat guy on fucking Twitter or Instagram like talking shit like, oh, you did this wrong. But now I realize, hey, fuck that guy. He doesn't matter. Like, he'll be dead before he's 40, whatever. So I don't care. Like, you gotta stop worrying. I gotta stop worrying about these things. And B, the thing is, like, yeah, it's not going to be perfect. You're going to fight. Like, I have beaten people who were having perfect fights that I still beat, that I fucking knocked out. Shit happens in a fight, all right? Like, you can't doubt yourself because you didn't do something perfect or things aren't going to plan. You can't lose focus. You can't be frustrated. And a big part of my training for the last couple of months has been, hey, accept that it's not going to be the fucking choreographed movie that you want it to be. It's a fucking fight. Like, be comfortable in that. So I've gotten back to being comfortable in that shootout, in those positions. There's been a lot of times the fights don't go your way, things are going bad. It's fine. That's just part of the fight. It's not over till it's over. It's as cliche as it sounds. So, you know, go out there and fight to the last bell. And I think if I go out there, I fight every moment to the last bell, I win this fight.
Awesome. Best of luck on Saturday.
Thanks, guys.